Um, Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Daniel Ice. I go by Dice, and I work for a company called NAX, which stands for New Asset Exchange, and I'm head of innovation for them. We help large corporates, get onto blockchain technology, among a number of things. And what we're looking at today is, I thought a lot. I've been in tech for 20 years. And I thought about a lot when we moved from desktop to mobile, and we had responsive web design was a thing. And I've been thinking about, as we've been moving from Web 2.0 to Web 3, kind of what are those same principles? Like, what does it mean to have a Web 3 application? And so I wanted to look into Web 3 product principles around how you log in and create accounts, how you handle your payments, and then a more broad example on API system integrations in like a complex manufacturing environment. So we all know this is the standard way that you log into a web app. You give them your email, you create a password. If you're like most people, you probably reuse the password from site to site, and it's just a matter of time before those passwords leak out, your account gets compromised. We all know the drill. It happens again and again and again. And as long as you share content, whether it's a password, a credit card number, anything like that, information will be leaked on the internet. The only truly secure model is one where the password or the private key never leaves the device. So the second big problem with Web2 logins is there's always a risk of being deplatformed. And we know that people who've built applications and then they're decided for whatever reason, good, bad, or ugly, they're no longer allowed to be on Gmail. They're no longer allowed to be on Amazon. We all see these things. And also, it requires a lot of personal information to create the account. Maybe you're not giving it to the site you're going to, but to create that underlying identity, they're going to extract some data from you. And over time, it started off as your email was this unique identity. It does handle a lot of different things. It also handles communication. And so the Web3 alternative is to log in with your wallet. We kind of lose that with Web3. But it also handles password resets. And it ultimately has become a way for the platforms to coordinate and track users across the web. So those are some of the downsides of an email password login. And I also picked this screenshot because it's got the Facebook, the Google, the LinkedIn, all the social logins have the same pitfalls. What I really enjoy in the Web3 experience is a login with wallet. Now, it's still a little new to people because not everybody has a wallet. Keeping your wallet password safe and secure is its own thing, so we're going to have some literacy coming up. In the same way that, when the web first started, I remember telling people, well, you need to get an email account to sign up for this, and they're like, what's an email account? So we're still kind of at that early phase of just educating people. But the really cool thing is you have strong security with cryptographic signature verification. So you don't need passwords. You can do a different wallet per account. So if you want to isolate how you interface with this product, you can. Or you can log in with the same wallet on multiple accounts. And this will allow platforms over time to personalize based on what you hold in your wallet, based on your transactions. And in essence, you're bringing your own personalization engine with you to the wallets. And technology will emerge so that you can do product recommendations, talk to people, get access to specific rooms, varying things. So here, it's no longer like linking your bank account, linking all the 19 things you have to, there's all this account linking all the time. Because you're using Web3 and Web3 knows about the assets you own, you get to integrate all this into one experience. It's also far more secure because if they hack the server, they can't log into your bank account. So if you're doing like a budget software and you wanted to link your wallet as opposed to linking your bank account, there's no risk that somebody will come in, steal your funds. You won't have to deal with all that. It does create some challenges though. If your wallet's lost, there's no way to reset the password. It just kind of is what it is. And there's no way for Web3 communication layer between the wallets. So these are problems where we're still solving. The second is just looking at payments. I've built a lot of payment technology over the years, done a number of e-commerce companies, and a lot of people think that credit card payments are easy and stuff, but from a merchant's perspective, they're really slow. They take 2 to 3 days to get your money, whereas on a Web3 payment, you get the money in a couple of blocks, whatever the time of that block is. They're expensive. and we'll compare all the costs here in a minute. And then there's also the chargeback risk, where I helped start a luxury cosmetics company called Violet Grey. We sold a lot of really high-end products that people love to use stolen credit cards to try to buy with. And it was a forever cat and mouse game, just stopping people from doing that. If you're paying with a crypto wallet, either they've stolen the whole wallet or they don't have any of the wallet. But the merchant gets to keep the funds either way. And those chargebacks really add up, because you not only have to pay the cost of the product that you lost, you also have to pay generally like a $25 fee. And so most merchants are making about 17% margin on their business, and so they're paying about 6% for their payments. So they're paying about a quarter of their money between the transaction fees and the chargebacks. It's also really easy to steal credit card data for the same reason it's really easy to steal the passwords. And then our second big way that we accept payments now is app stores. And this is the ultimate gatekeeper verification. Publishers require the account. We've been stuck trying to get one of our apps live for over a month because Apple won't approve our account. We've all been there. Their payments are very slow, 30 to 45 days. They're very expensive, 15 to 30%, mostly 30%, and you're not allowed to have a direct relationship with the customer. Platforms really limit the kinds of payments and business models that are allowed on there. And that's why you've kind of seen a stifling of a lot of the businesses not really getting that advanced, because they end up in just games where you're buying little upgrades, and that's about the only business model that seems to work. A lot of the productivity apps really struggle. When we look at payments for Web3, they're both fast and slow. From a consumer perspective, feeling that 17 seconds or generally 1 minute for an Ethereum transaction feels like an eternity. But once that transaction's done, it's fast because the funds have actually settled. You don't have to wait for that settlement layer. We all know you should wait a little longer on the Bitcoin, 30 minutes to an hour. They're final, so you don't risk chargebacks. The transaction fees can be high, and even though it's great and it's new and everything, we'll look at that in the next table. But the buyer pays versus the seller, so that's an interesting dynamic. You don't need a merchant account. You don't need a Stripe account. You may have a political point of view that people want to deplatform. I think we're seeing a lot of that in the news these days. You just simply create a wallet and you can start accepting payments. There's no technical limitations on the business model. You can create any kind of pricing structure that you want. And I think we're going to see a lot of innovation coming out of this. So just kind of comparing payments in the Web2 direct model, which is a Stripe account, a Shopify account, you're paying about 6%. Given a 3% chance of a chargeback, it comes out to 6% on a $50 transaction. Obviously, if you have a $50 transaction on an app store, you're going to pay about $15 or $30. Ethereum right now, I took the latest stats. It's a little low this month. It's $6.61, which is quite high on those things, but that is a fixed rate. So you could have a $10,000 payment and you still pay the same $6.61. Bitcoin's at $2.30. And then I see the level 2 here at 19 cents. And I think that's really what's going to emerge, will be a very fast level 2 payment layer, probably that handles all the transactions for just pennies, and they're final and they're settled. So very exciting front there. And then finally are the complex systems. So I've been looking at one of the world's largest supply chains, and they've been trying to swap out a lot of their systems, and they keep running into these problems that there's so many systems and they all hold partial bits of the records. And what we're bringing to them is a new approach where we take ERC20 style definitions. And this is one of the greatest things about Web3 is there's over 250,000 ERC20 tokens on there that your MetaMask can interact with, just because it does these simple API things, the name, the symbol, the transfer from, etc. And so we're building them a custom blockchain where we write our own ERC20 definitions of what an order is, what a shipment is, etc. And so in the Web2 world, they have this giant legacy ERP system, and it synchronizes with subsystem 1, and that synchronizes with subsystem 2, which adds a little more data to the order. And the legacy ERP is so old that they can't actually update it to put all of the data in there. So they never have a full view of any order. They only have synthetic orders that live in spreadsheets. And that may not seem like a big deal, but when you're dealing with 100,000 orders and stuff like that, it can become quite cumbersome. And So this is our redesigned system. Is we put a private POA blockchain for all them and their 200 manufacturers on. So it's private, but it's used and decentralized. And they have a shared definition of an order so that every system that knows parts of the order can write to it directly, and all the systems stay in sync because they get to read from that. And what's really cool about Web3 when you think about integrations is they're actually reversed. In the past, you would have to reach out and integrate into other systems, and this one, everybody comes to the blockchain. So it's kind of like reverse gravity. It gets me really excited. I've built so many e-commerce systems to have one system where everything stays in sync all the time. And then you can start to link this stuff up to all the DeFi Legos out there. So you can do a bridge and then do supply chain financing for some of the manufacturers. And once data has a finality to it, and once everybody has that shared upon thing, just like the last talk with the shared sticks between the communities, we're able to build systems in this format. They're much less locked in. And then when we kind of compare the two systems, let's look at what happens when one of the system connections goes down. If it goes down from that legacy ERP system, which does happen, then all of the subsystems are there. You can also just see from a basic network analysis that the latency between P1 and S3 is 1, 2, 3 hops. And whereas if the ERP system goes down over here, all the other systems aren't affected. They're still able to read from the blockchain. Blockchains have had billions of dollars transacted on them. They scale very well. They've got resiliency, and this is a way to use them beyond just kind of a common shared ledger. So it works much more like the internet. We all heard. I forget which Eastern European country got the internet shut down, and we lost 15% of the Bitcoin mining like a month ago. But yeah, thank you. And it just kept running, and that's the nature of true decentralized systems. So these are just some of my musings. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Oh, sorry. So we have about 8 minutes for Q&A.